All right, rings. Okay, all right, going to Elohim frequencies, um, angelic wars. Of course, it's ancient wars afoot there, but it's still going on. Yeah, just yeah, we'll just leave it open for whatever it needs to say there. Let's see here. As for the Saturn frequency, so that makes sense. With this Saturn, Saturn's kind of a dense energy. It's kind of an arrogant. It's just kind of intense, but it makes sense. Like why so many like kids want to grow up fast and they kind of ruin themselves at what 10 or 11 or 12, whatever. There's a lot of that going on, or 15, or they think they can handle adult life at 12 or 15 or 16, and they end up being wrong, and then they end up so mentally screwed up, and we have to deal with. Yeah, take that generation and put it like was it in the presidential time? When that generation's running for president, I think we have problems now. And we haven't, there's some of them have had kids at like 15 or 12 or whatever it is, and they can't get their freaking head straight for anything. They can't concentrate for longer than a minute. So, yeah, something to look forward to. Hopefully, some of us are out of here by then. But I feel like that's a lot of the Saturn energy that's there too. It's like, you guys come in for a fight and we'll show you how vulnerable you really are, how you guys you think you have it all figured out. We'll tell you another story there. That's the vibe I get from that. And a lot of other things. Saturn is just kind of a wicked frequency, but it's there to iron you out. You think you know it all, and then Saturn comes in, so I think again. Something like that. That's what I'm getting from it. So, yeah, I guess some of us are just know better or have already been through it to some level. Yeah, it's not clear on now that, but anyway, everything's a mystery. The Elohim frequencies, Elohim in general, yeah, it's kind of a sacred energy. It's difficult to get into, so I'm not sure how far I'm going to get with it, but whatever they need to say, because there is a lot of angelic wars that they can't go into for obvious reasons. It's happening now. They have to let things play out, decisions that were made here, so they can't interfere in a lot of ways. Because once humanity makes a choice, you just have to sit there and maybe assist, but help you through it. And so that's what we're always going through that. So obviously, there's a lot of unnecessary problems that happen here, but yeah, ever since technology came to us during like the Industrial Revolution, things have gotten more complicated to be human. It was hard before, but you got to die early. You live fast, die young, basically. But nowadays, it's stretched out, and everyday life's gotten more intense. So, yeah, it's like wrong speed or something like that to some level. So, all right, we'll see what we get from the Elohim. That doesn't mean they're going to reveal a whole lot, but they might say, I don't know, they might say something. Who knows if they're up for it. All right, so I'm talking economy private sessions schedule. We have a shop here. Okay, all right. All right, going to Elohim energies. Yeah, it goes into also to the bird frequencies. Yeah, obviously have connections to the Carrion race. That they come through every so often, not very often. That's the bald eagle race. Of course, they're also connected to the hawks. And of course, you have angels that do have wings and stuff like that through hybridization and all that. So, and you can say, yeah, they're bird beings here that are definitely have a dominant nature about them, but some of them thrive off of chaos. You can say, well, this is like a portions of the world is a prison planet. It's not entirely a prison planet, but there are portions of it is. And they're just making sure we stay on the planet. You can say, imagine there's a lot more to it than that. But It's like some of them like to see us play it out or go through our darkness and all that. So they want to, I'm not sure they call it entertainment, but they are seeing us, I don't know, they're not going into details on that. But anyway, all right, going to Elohim energies and then Saturn and, all right, blessings. Greetings, Elohim. Our energy is connected to magic. Of course, you don't see magic here in the physical realms for good reason. It can be accessed to a certain level. The idea is to, yes, querying your energies, for what's to come. This coming year is going to be a turbulent one, as all years are, but this one there's dramatic changes on the way that have to be done. It's kind of like a social earthquake. So I don't think of it as a physical earthquake, meaning like the earth earthquake, but basically a society earthquake. And several need to occur. I say need to. It's been building up for a transformation, and now it's upon you. Not to put fear out there or anything like that. Obviously, there's others chicken littles out there that just need to be afraid of everything. Of course, there's those that change. Most people probably want to feel a difference, but those of you that are empathic will feel a change without going into the timeline of events, because it's a slow burn. It's not going to make itself too clear at this point. But soul growth, of course, is the ladder of your existence. Yes, many are taking the ladder down. Well, they think they can handle anything, and then they find that they lost or they're up to the battles that are here. So to give you an understanding, though, is this is why spirituality, it's not perfect. It's never going to be, even in the higher dimensions. Never. But developing your spiritual abilities now is important, but it goes on from lifetime to lifetime. It doesn't mean you have to be, for some people here want to, speed things up in this reality, and you just let it happen gradually. Just work on what you feel like you need to work on. And so many just have these huge expectations which will never be met, most likely. There's others that are just emotional. But your spiritual abilities is what gets you through the troubles that you go through, as some of you know, or many of you know. And that's why you go through more challenges. Thing is, there's a lot of souls here, individuals, or I'm going to call them, or people, whatever you want to call them. They think they can get through anything, but their abilities are not activated or don't even exist. And that can cause a lot of problems. So how do you, because with having your intuitive abilities, it's kind of like it's your filter to clear out all the garbage you've been through. It helps you through it. It actually speeds things up. It's kind of like it's like having better tires on your car. And now you can go up a hill where other cars can't, for example. It's like you just have better terrain, better traction with the terrain that you're on. And most of society feels like they don't need it. So that's why it's a bloody mess. It's a bloodbath, actually. And even some truths, just saying that, it can get your sensors here on your internet all up a tingle. They can't. The truth hurts. But there are many souls that feel like they can take on anything, and they find out that's not the case. And many of you have just know what to do. It's like, why bother putting yourself through so many situations? Even if you do have the ability to go through it, doesn't mean you have to. So there's a lot of souls here just living life blindly. Of course, everyone is to a certain level, but there's others that are completely blind. And that is a frustrating part of it. And many of you are here to bring in some insight and to clear. Now, there has been unnecessary, experiences here that might have affected a loved one or friends or family. And that is also why certain timelines connect. Like somebody you know from a past life, and all of a sudden you connected to this person and they've been through a lot of trauma. It's because a lot of the trauma is probably unnecessary as a possibility, and a lot of times it is true. And so you're there to clear it, and because it's more than what that person could have handled. You say it's more than what they even signed up for. And so, you can get the triple hit as for manipulations, or more than that. And that's why some of you are here to connect to new people or family or friends, whoever it might be, to pull them out of it. Not to say you're going through anything easy either, because you get affected by it too. Because they come after you, they come after them, they come after you astrally. It's kind of like astral hitmen. So, but that gives you an idea of what you're up against. Of course, it's all unseen for the most part. That's the whole point of this world, the idea for this physical world is to see the unseen, to get smart on a higher level, not on an ego level, but just to to overcome whatever it is, however you want to word it, basically to free yourself of all these mundane attacks. Because the beings here, yes, they hit you with everything they got, because that's what they're designed for. It's kind of like you're getting hit by all these viruses and you find a cure. But the idea is to move out of that environment so you're not attacked anymore. And that's what you're doing currently. Well, a small percent of you are. The rest of the world is just blind. Yeah, unfortunately, it's like, a sheep mentality, unfortunately. They're just, but they feel like they have it all figured out. And obviously, that's not always the case. Greece, you have the Saturn frequencies. It is interesting we are coming through after Elohim frequency, because Saturn energies, yes, is there to push you into the mud, to smell it, to bring it into your soul, to basically, after you make a decision, we are just definitely there to make sure you fulfill your decision making skills to fulfill that timeline you created. And it might be brutal, but those are the more interesting ones, especially if you can heal it quickly and get out of it and evolve. It's to see a soul evolve after being attacked so many times. So be surprised how many get as many hits as they can, and then somehow make it through all of this. It's almost like surviving, trying to get out of a burning house, and you're just like barely get out there before it collapses. That type of situation. But yeah, Saturn is part of the teaching frequency of this universe, of just being just hardcore. Of course, there is a lighter frequency of Saturn also, but the darker version, yes, wants you to just, you're warning what's here. Doesn't mean you have to warn all of it, but it can be pretty brutal. Your government, obviously, has been hijacked, but that's kind of the point. Well, because they're weak-minded energies. They're just there to be. I mean, anybody can join them, right? So, of course, it's going to be infiltrated at some point. Same thing with your teachers. That can be also infiltrated very easily. So it's difficult. You have to kind of like really be you got to be very wise to keep corruption out. Even then, it's still very difficult. Well, if it's a closed environment, no, not to be controlling, but just to keep corruption out, you have to keep things very small. Like government, you have to keep that small. You can't have a huge, giant government, because a janitor can have enough power to manipulate it. So, and all the workers there, a lot of the workers, government workers, are kind of in a zombie state at this point. That's worldwide. And they enjoy it. That's called your normal human. Of course, there's other words for it, but they're not necessarily background people. They just kind of lost their humanity, but they're on autopilot. Many of them are. Good luck with the world picking up on that one. Well, Well, basically, the energy of the individual. Are you much different than anyone else? The idea is to know yourself and be surprised how many are just copying what they see around them. They don't really know who they are, or if there's even anyone to know within themselves. But that is one of the reasons why many of you incarnate here to bring some color and dynamic here, which this world lacks a lot of, because it basically wants to turn this planet into just a zombie, a mind controlled planet. Basically, just almost everyone will think the same, and you kind of have that already, not entirely. So that's why many of you incarnate here to be different than everyone, and to be alone, and I mean, if you come here with, it's kind of, you come here as a knife, and you're cutting through manipulations. And usually you see a knife by itself. Usually it doesn't have another one connected to it. It's sometimes easier to cut through reality than to just have many with you. Of course, not everyone that be with you. Some would be dull. Some might not even cut that well at all. They are sharpened. So you'd be surprised how many of you come here solo just to do what you're here to do. Yes, it is lonely. Well, the idea is because you feel lonely because you're not part of the system, and that's not a bad thing. Yeah, it's tough, but would you rather be part of the system that feels like it has it all figured out and it's as lost as anything else? Has it all figured out and as backwards as any other planet out in the universe? Just if you have a society that thinks that it has it figured itself, and many do. Once again, the Saturn frequencies here are brutal. They go into the universities, but also just regular life, just to see what you have to get. You have what it takes to get out of this place. Because as you can see, they make it hard to leave at the same time. Well, because you can't go yet. We're not done with you yet. But those of you that are, clearing out the nonsense here and connecting more to yourselves, you'll see some winnings actually. Like you'll see some, like you weren't here for just no reason. Let's put it that way. Now, when you see it's another story. But as long as you make it through your own life and its challenges, eventually you'll see some of what your belief systems here to awaken or whatever it might be. Because most of society would rather with blinders on, of course. Well, it's because they're not ready to see what else is here. It's better just to have the glasses on, get the shades on. Because as many of you know, it can get it's very intense out there. So let's